Hello, Holistic Chamber of Commerce family. Welcome to today's Member Spotlight segment. I am here with Donna Coble, who is the president, by the way, of the Cypress, Texas chapter. So if you are near that area, please do look her up because she does have in-person events and they are tons of fun. Okay, so Donna's going to be talking today about mindset strategies for the new year. Before we dive in, I'm just going to briefly give you a little information about Donna. She is a holistic life coach that empowers others to find their best life and purpose and clean the toxins from their heart, head, and home through conscious language skills, pure essential oils, and several techniques of breathing and releasing. She's able to help her clients break through the barriers that have been holding them back. Welcome, Donna.
Thank you for having me, Lore. It's always nice to see you.
All right, so we think it's like obvious, to have a positive mindset. So to ask the question, why is mindset so important? Or why do we want to start the year with a positive mindset? It might seem a little like holistic 101-ish, but I don't know. I'd love to hear your take on that.
So after the holidays, the beginning of the year is a great time. The end of the year is crazy. So we always have from Christmas, then you go from New Year's, and that week in between, people don't know what day it is. You don't know what time it is. You don't know where you're supposed to be. So it's really a good week to start setting your goals for the next year. And mindset is one of those goals. So if you wake up every day, do your affirmations. I always choose 3 things that you're super positive about, that you see happening. The words I am are the most powerful words that can come out of your mouth. So I am joy, I am wealth, I'm abundance, I'm love, whatever you choose. It's really important that you start your day with that. So mindset is 100% before your feet hit the floor, your mindset needs to be centered first. So that's like no brainer. It needs to happen. And then from there, you're going to set your goals for your day, for your week, for your month, for your year. And then as you do, it becomes a habit. So it's really important to know, really, you have to break it down to the minute. Every minute mindset matters. Yeah.
I really love this topic because we all know it's like being in the holistic field and the work that most of our viewers do. They know it's important to have a mindset. Like a healthy, happy, positive mindset. Mm-hmm. But I do think that our subconscious is very insidious. It's mm-hmm. like it sneaks in. And when we aren't aware, then it's like it takes over before we can even, think about what's happening.
Yeah, that conscious language is super important. So that I am statement, your subconscious, the whole job is to really protect you and be like, no, don't do that. That's not going to end well. And instead you have to really put your conscious mind to it. And it needs to be a conscious decision to be positive, to go forward and do the things that you want to do, that you need to do, that you will do. And that's why the I ams are so important. And the other thing is to just really be able to breathe. I mean, it's an innate thing. We all know how to breathe, but we don't do it. So partnering those two together, like taking a deep breath in and saying, I am, your I am statement, holding your breath is kind of releasing the tension between your conscious brain and your subconscious brain. It's kind of like, okay, we can work together. And then you let it out. It's a very powerful statement in the morning.
Mm-hmm. So mindset includes conscious language, being mindful of how we say things. It also involves like breath work, which we may not associate with mindset. Is there anything else in there that we need to be aware of that impacts how we're thinking and our ability to think positively?
Oh yeah. I mean, so in my life, I have essential oils behind me. We always add essential oils into everything, and everything works on a frequency. Your entire life is a bunch of frequencies. Your watches, the GSR that they use, there's tons of frequencies running around you. So you have a negative impact and a positive impact, a low frequency and a higher frequency. And your job in life is to really just bring up your frequency so that you have a higher consciousness. So when you partner essential oils with breathing and with positive mindset, we can say it has a longer lasting impact and it has a more dramatic impact, we'll say. So when you really make the decision to have a positive mindset and constantly work towards that. It's not a, hey, I'm going to be positive today and that's it, right? It's really something you have to work towards, because as we meet other people, we're taking on their energies as well. So if you go to like a networking event and there's people there that are having a bad day, or they just went through like a car accident or something, they're bringing that negative energy in, that you tend to absorb it, because we're human and we want to help other people. So what's the first thing we see when we meet people is, hi, how are you? Well, I could go two ways. You can be like, you can get, I'm fine, which is a great answer. It's a good, basic answer. But then you also get those people who word vomit about how bad their life is and everything, and you're just absorbing that. So it's really important to kind of make a protective barrier on yourself, and to know that, what they are saying is theirs and what you have in you is yours.
What are some signs that maybe your mindset isn't as healthy as you think it is?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I get that quite often. So I work with people that have, it's not necessarily a problem, but that have a kind of draw towards the dramatic. So if you tend to always be ill or find sickness really more fun to be able to stay in bed all day, those moments where you have the paralysis, where you don't know what you're going to do and you don't do anything, if that's something that you really feel like is becoming a constant in your life, it might be time to enable a coach, or to seek higher self-help, that sort of thing. If you find yourself like really feeling down, it might not be just I'm having a bad day thing or a bad week. It might be something deeper that you do need to incorporate a coach or a therapist or something along those lines for. And I really think those people that really think that they are having a moment, or if you're just unable to get through something. So say you have a really great sales goal that you're trying to get through and you're just unable to really hit it because it's it's you. That's the perfect person that might need a life coach.
I know in the entrepreneurial world, the business ownership world, especially like within spiritual communities, mindset around sales, selling, and money can be quite the challenge.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes. There are so many people in the world that, the I don'ts, I can'ts, I won'ts, those are really big trigger words for a lot of people, or people who have never really met up with someone who's just flat out said no to them. And the first time that encounters them, it really shoots them down. So it has a lasting impact on you, whether you know it or not. When you were, a small child and you selling Girl Scout cookies door to door, and someone's like, no, I don't want your cookies. That's made an impact on you, and that subconscious brain, that no is constantly there. So that's exactly what mindset is really powerful for, is to kind of just set that intention that was in the past. That's not what's going to happen this time, and move forward.
Yeah, it's almost like we start to attach our experiences to our worth. And I feel like a huge issue with mindset is like, I am not worthy of, I am not deserving of, who am I to get XYZ or accomplish XYZ? And I feel like that really hinders us in the business world. That, we hold ourselves back and, don't really experiment or take risks in certain areas.
Those are soundtracks that we have, and a soundtrack is just anything that plays over and over again in your head. And if it says, in the absence of a leader, the loudest voice is always heard. And the same thing happens in your head too. If you're not feeding your mind constantly with positive information, so scrolling Facebook, it might be great to do for 5-10 minutes, but hours on end, it's not doing anything for your body, your mind, your energy. So if you can read an empowerment book, there are a million of them out there. You can find one. They have podcasts. I mean, there's a great amount of resources available to kind of reset your mind, so that what you hear on the inside isn't those things like, I'm unworthy. It's, I'm powerful. I can do this. I am. Those I am statements are so important to get into your vernacular, because if you don't start with those I ams, then you're really going to be behind the 8 ball on everything. So you're going to always have that feeling of, I'm not worthy, or I can't do this, or I don't know what I'm doing, or those types of unenergetic statements.
So when I'm saying these things, you're kind of nodding along. So I'm guessing that it doesn't really matter what the mindset issue is. You will work with clients wherever they are with whatever they're bringing to the table. because it's not necessarily, it doesn't seem to be about the specific topic itself. It's how we move through this.
Absolutely. So I mean, I work with people in all stages of their life. If they're not even sure they need a mind coach, we do, I do discovery calls to make sure that this is a right fit. And then I always kind of dive deeper. Like, what kind of childhood did you have? Was it happy? Was it a broken home? Those types of things, because those they really kind of trigger you at a young age and send you on a trajectory in your life. And it's really easy to just kind of fall into that pit of excuses where like, well, I can't do this because of this. Well, there's millions of people out in the world that have overcome similar experiences. Might not be the exact same experience, but they've been able to overcome them. And the big difference is mindset. So yeah, it's very important.
So I'm curious because, you talk about like I am statements and affirmations and stuff like that. There's a lot of like controversy over like affirmations, whether they work, because, you could say, oh, I am loving and I deserve to be loved. But if like your subconscious mind is like, not so much, because when you grew up, your dad did this. What is your take on that? Like, how do we do the affirmations and the I am statements if we're not like fully buying into that?
So this is a really great question. Thank you so much for asking it. So the really important part is the affirmation itself, the words that you're choosing. So if you find that you have a soundtrack that plays in your head that I'm unworthy, the best thing to do is replace it with an I am statement. I am worthy. And you say it over and over again until it becomes something that you feel in your body. The second part, stand in front of a mirror in the Superman pose or the Wonder Woman pose with your hands on your hips and stare directly at your face. That way you're looking yourself in the eye while you're saying these things, and it triggers something in your brain and your memory that then makes it more impactable, which is so important. And then the third part is to actually do the steps. So you can say all these words all you want, but until you take those action steps, you're not doing much for yourself, honestly. So if you take these action steps of, if you're afraid to go outside, open the door one day, just stand there, don't leave, but just open the door and let some fresh air come in. Then the next day you stand on your doorstep. Then the next, you just constantly have to be in motion is what it is. And there is a ton of controversy on, whether the validity of I am statements or, positive affirmations work, but there is quite a bit of research that does say that it does work and it is continuing to work. But if you partner those three things together, it's just all on you.
I think what made it very valid for me is when you said you need to pair it with action, because you can't just sit on the sofa and say, I will have a healthy body and lose 20 pounds being on the sofa eating cookies and chips all day. It's just, no matter how much you repeat that, it's not going to happen.
I'm 100 pounds. I'm 100 pounds, right?
Yeah, exactly. But what you said made sense, because it's a combination, what it sounds like, of repetition, putting a new tape in our mind, but also, what do I need to do to be worthy? What is one action I can take to actually feel that or embody that? And that makes so much sense.
Yeah. And it's more than just, again, sitting on the couch and saying, I'm going to be 100 pounds or I'm going to run a marathon, and you haven't left the couch in like a week. So it really is deciding what that action is and that goal that you're setting. That's why it's really important to make sure you set daily goals, hourly goals. If you have to break them down to an hour, what am I going to do in this 60 minutes? What am I going to accomplish? Because sometimes you get overwhelmed when you're looking at your month and you're like, I'm never going to hit this goal. I'm never going to be able to do this. I'm never going to be able to have this meeting. But if you're like, okay, if I need to meet this one person, this CEO of a bank, who do I have to meet to get to him? And then you start there. Obviously don't walk up to the CEO of the bank and say, hey, I want to meet you. This is all I want, I want to do business, all this other thing, spew these words on them. But if you start with maybe the branch manager, you have to sit down with them and say, hey, I'd love to be able to talk to the CEO. It's just all steps. You just have to take small steps. Small steps have big impacts.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And we don't realize that once we get, it's like momentum, once we get moving just a little bit, then we can continue and repeat. It makes it so much easier.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So we've talked a lot about like some strategies. We talked about I am statements and being mindful of the language that you use. We talked about repetition. We even talked about, briefly the use of breath. Are there any other tips that you can give us to maintain a positive mindset for this new year?
Accountability. Accountability is really key to that, because you're going to set yourself in motion, but you want someone who will hold you accountable, who will text you and say, "Hey, how's it going this week? What can I help you with?" Those types of things. So accountability, and that's where coaches come in, is we really are your accountability partners. And accountability is so important, because if we're all left to our own devices, we're probably not going to really do that what we said we're going to do. So if you have something that's there, that end goal, and someone's standing there waiting for you to finish it, it makes that end goal seem almost feasible. Like, you can do this because someone's cheering you on. You're hype girl, your own personal hype girl. Yeah.
So what does it look like to work with you?
Oh, it's so much fun. So I offer free discovery calls to see if I'm the right person for you, and if you're the right person for me, because if that doesn't happen, then there's really no point in moving forward. And then we decide if you need a month program, a 3-month program, a 6-month program, or if we just go by the weeks. So it's really based on what your goals are, how you feel like where you are today and where you want to be. And then we do take those conscious steps every week, and they get accountability, and they get homework and tasks to kind of reach those things. We do incorporate oils in everything we do. We also incorporate breathing. We also incorporate release techniques. So it's just, depending on what the level is that they want to really be, the best, most powerful self that they have.
So if you're watching this, I put in Donna's website address where you can sign up for that free consultation. If this piques your interest, if it's something that you want to maybe discuss with Donna further about whether or not you think she can support you, please check it out and reach out. It doesn't cost anything to have a conversation. Can you work with people anywhere? You say you work with like essential oils and stuff like that. So
so I'm able to do what I do over Zoom. I can ship things to people. I can have them shipped to them directly from the company I work with. Most of the techniques that I do are breathing. So if you have the oils, you can breathe in the oils from anywhere in the world. So yes.
So when you talk about breathing, are you talking about the act of just with the essential oils, or do you actually teach like breath work techniques that you sometimes see in yoga in like somatic classes?
So one of my favorite types of breathing is box breathing, where you let all the oxygen out of your lungs. You breathe in for 4 seconds, 5 seconds, depends, because I do work with adolescents. So you only want them to breathe in for 4 seconds. You don't want anybody passing out. You hold your breath for 4 or 5 seconds, and then you breathe it out. So it's really conscious. And as you get better at it, then you can increase the time. So I always start out with 4 seconds because I think everybody can do that. But so that's really the technique that kind of draws me in, because it really stops your brain. Your subconscious brain knows what you have to do. And then your conscious brain is trying to figure out all these things, or vice versa. Sorry. Conscious brain, just needs to know what to do. The subconscious brain is just trying to feed the conscious brain information that's completely wrong or misleading it. So it's really engaging both of them in those actions.
Yeah, the reason why I asked is because I love the power of breath work. I teach yoga, I do it in my yoga classes. And I believe when we can work with movement, breath, and the mind, it makes things happen so much quicker than when you're just kind of stagnant trying to outthink all of the craziness that goes on.
Yes, it's so powerful. It really is. The human body is just amazing, how it's designed and how it works, and how we don't even think. We breathe our own, but we also consciously hold your breath when you talk. So it's like, what is happening right now, right?
And women like sucking in their stomachs because we're trying to like keep our stomach looking flatter, and that affects like diaphragmatic breathing.
Things, right? Yeah. Our poor diaphragms are overworked as it is. Yes. I completely agree. Yeah.
Well, thanks so much, Donna, for being on here with us today and sharing your knowledge about mindset and sharing a little bit about what you do. So again, if you're interested in working with Donna or having a conversation, head on over to her website, book a free discovery call. And even if you aren't really sure, sometimes we think our mindset's good, but we got a lot of stuff that we miss. We sometimes can't see past our own filter. So if something is not working well for you in your life and you've like thrown a bunch of stuff at it and it's not working,
Try something else.
Yeah, try something else, but it's a good chance you've got some subconscious stuff going on there that just needs a little reprogramming, and Donna can help you do that. So thank you, Donna, for being here with us today.
Thank you so much for having me, Laura. It's always a pleasure.
All right, everyone, have a great rest of your day. We'll see you next time.